Hi, this is the video for Tuesday, March 21st. Number one says, what is the length of the side? I just want to point out that this says P equals 18. So this is the measurement of perimeter. So we need to make sure we're breaking that number down in order to figure out the length of each side. So this is what our work should look like for this problem. Number two is pretty straightforward. Fluency, 5 times what gives us 20. Number three, what is the distance between point S and to point R? So we're looking from point S to point R. We want to make sure we're breaking down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We want to make sure that we're breaking down the number line so that we can see what part is going from here, from S to R. We know that each hole is broken down into tenths. So now we just need to see how many jumps we make from S to R, and that's going to give us our fraction. For number 4, we're looking for the area of this rectangle. We know length times width equals area, so we can use this equation to figure it out. Number 5 is pretty straightforward subtraction problem. We are regrouping over zeros, so please make sure you're taking your time and then also checking your work using addition so that you know for sure that you have the correct answer. Number 6, what is the length of the line to the nearest 1/4 inch? So we can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 whole inches, and then our last inch, we don't have a full inch, so we need to figure out what is the fraction left over for our measurement. And then number 7, 5/6 is the same as what? Again, we should be looking to keep our denominator the same and looking for the numerator to equal 5. Down to number 8, Mr. Helper gets out of bed at 6:45. He spends 15 minutes, putting on his socks on the wrong feet. What is that? Silly Mr. Helper. What time does he finish putting on his socks? So we know our start time. We know our elapsed time. We now just need to figure out our final time. Number 9, how many cupcakes were eaten on Tuesday and Wednesday? So we need to look at Tuesday and we need to look at Wednesday. Each cupcake is worth 6 cupcakes. Number 10, which of the following is a characteristic of a rhombus? If we think of a rhombus, this is an example of one. We can then go through each of these options and think about, do they apply to this picture? Number 11, we should be getting really good at these by now. We can break down our larger number into 2 and 10 and then complete this multiplication problem. For number 12, which of the following represents the sum of 145 plus 27 rounded to the nearest 10? So we need to first round these numbers, and then we can add them. Again, we're rounding to the nearest 10, so we want to look in the 10's place value. And then once we're done rounding, we can add up those two numbers. Number 13, which fraction is equivalent to 3/8? We can use multiplication in order to figure out this problem. Again, whatever we're putting on the top, we also want to be putting on the bottom so that our numerator and the denominator are the same. And again, we're looking for this answer right here to be one of our answer choices. Number 14, what is 1 1/2 in improper fraction form? So if we're keeping our denominator the same, we know that 1 whole would be 2/2, and then plus 1/2 would be 3 halves. We always want to be breaking down this number into wholes and then the fraction. Number 15, Keon has $9. His sister has twice as much as him. How much does Keon's sister have? I want you to think about which equation you're going to write out here in order to figure out the answer to your problem. Number 16, we're given 5 times 8. So we want to think about how this is broken down then into a 2-area equation. We can see that 7 and 1 gives us our 8. So we need to think about what's going to go in this missing space right here. Number 17, what is the perimeter of the figure? We have some missing sides that we need to figure out. So using your squiggle and straight, you can figure out the lengths of these 2 missing sides and then use that to find your perimeter. So we're not going to be doing any cutting and continuing because we're looking for the perimeter of what's going around the outside. Number 18, which of these could be the mass of an adult horse? We talked about mass, and we talked about mass as a particular unit. And I want you to think, did we talk about mass being liters, or did we talk about it being grams or milliliters or kilograms? So think about each of these units and which one makes sense for the mass of a horse. 19 and 20 are pretty straightforward. They are story problems using multiplication in number 19 and division in number 20. Again, you want to be thinking about words that relate to multiplication and words and situations that relate to division. As always, make sure that you're speaking with your teacher for any problems that are extra difficult for you tonight. See you in the morning. Have a good night.